Hello there, viewers. I'm the Knight of Arcane, and today I wanted to do another round of one of my recent videos and draw more Ben 10 aliens as Spider-Man. Like I said, the first round was a lot of fun. It helped us break the 500 sub milestone, and I got quite a few suggestions from across social media to give me ideas for this round and more rounds in the future. Should probably do some general Ben 10 characters at some point too, but that would probably be a while. Anyways, let's check out our Ben 10 Alien Spider-Man, shall we? Let's take this from the top again. Out in the multiverse, there are many iterations of the wall-crawling superhero known as Spider-Man, in some shape, form, or gender, all connected by the Spider-Verse and tend to have similar events and stories. Vlad Parker is an interesting person to become a Spider-Man. Similar to Dr. Michael Alexander Morbius, the living vampire, Vlad had a rare blood disease that made it impossible for him to even be in the extreme heat for too long, along with his skin being weaker and highly susceptible to sunburns, even if outside for a few moments. But the boy tried to see the good in life, even if he was abandoned at a young age due to his parents unwilling to try and help their son through all this, and jumping from place to place in the foster system. One day, a rich man by the name of Lord Drake Transel took the boy in as his son, though not out of the goodness of his heart. You see, Lord Transel and the Transel family were once High Lords of Transylvania, before being forced out by the Lords of Wallachia, the ancestors of the vampire Lord Dracula, fleeing to Latveria and again rising high before being wiped out by Dr. Doom during his rise to power. Lord Transel only survived due to being away on business, but that didn't stop the agents of Doom from poisoning him, making him weak and have symptoms similar to Vlad's own disease. Using his wealth, Lord Transel looked not only for a cure, but someone to test it on first. Someone with similar health to him now, leading him to find Vlad Parker. It took years for Transel scientists to work on this cure, during which the Lord pretended to be a father figure to young Vlad into his teen years, though not noticing as the boy seemed to come more alive at night. But one day, the scientists were able to make a formula for their Lord, using some research similar to Dr. Morbius's own failed cure, and adding DNA from the Ivacara Kolokivora, the vampire spider. They believed they found a way to not only cure him completely, but to also enhance his abilities tenfold. Intrigued, Lord Transel secretly had Vlad drugged and injected with this serum, before dropping him off in the New York streets, all while he had small bat-like drones watch the boy. When Vlad woke up, he was confused, scared, but also hungry. He could smell food from many of the restaurants around him, but none piqued his stomach's interest. But the humans he passed, Vlad had to duck in an alleyway to keep himself from eating anyone, but he walked right into a deal between two gangs. As they went to attack him, Vlad noticed his senses were better, and through fighting these thugs found his strength, speed, and reflexes to also have improved greatly. But with them out and having exerted himself in the fight, Vlad couldn't help himself and started to feed on one of the thugs' life energy. And yet, he was able to stop himself from gorging too much on the guy. As the sun soon started to rise, Vlad felt his skin actually burn and peel off, starting to turn to dust. In a panic, small wings started to form under his arms, and he used them to fly and find a shady place to hide. finding it under a bridge and figuring out he can also shoot webs out, then made himself a cocoon to hide in during the day. Confused about his new powers, and unable to find where his adoptive father went, Vlad decided his best course of action would be to use his powers the best he can to help protect people from the monsters of the night, both man and beast. And that is how the Wham Spider rose. An interesting Spider-Woman we have is Ashley Landau, one hailing from a partially futuristic universe dominated by speed, in status, sports, and even crime. Growing up, Ashley dreamed to be a professional racer, so she spent years learning how to build and trick out her own motorcycles, and testing them in abandoned tracks used in the past for horse races. At her school's science fair, she showed off her best bike, the XLR7, showing off how fast and durable her bike was. This demonstration caught the attention of Nora Osborn, the young CEO of this universe's Oscorp, and she was impressed and was able to talk to Ashley after the science fair. Learning about her dream, Nora offered to have Oscorp be her sponsor, but she had to do one thing first: win an underground race using an experimental fuel Oscorp had made, nicknamed Bite. While a little cautious, Ashley knew she couldn't pass off this opportunity and accepted. It wasn't hard for the two to find a race to test it out, though Ashley was surprised a bit with who she'd be racing against. The son of the head of the Magneto Mafia, Pietro Quicksilver, leader of the Japanese biker gang the Crazy Diamonds, Mondo Owada, and even professional racer Citra D, aka Fast Tracked. While a bit nervous, she was also excited to try out the XLR7 against these famous racers. The race was off, and Ashley never felt more alive, speeding through the streets of New York and doing extremely well against the other racers. She only had one racer in front of her, Fast Tracked, and she was quickly catching up. However, right as she was about to pass him, she felt a pain in her chest, and looking down, she saw blood. Turning to the side, she saw a gun in Fast Track's hand, before he then rammed her off the road. The XLR7 crashed into an unmarked field truck, the bike exploding with the truck in the collision, and while Ashley was able to jump off beforehand, the blood loss, jump, and explosion caused her to black out. She was able to open her eyes a moment later to see some Oscorp employees dismantling the XLR7 and putting the pieces into a truck, all while Nora was handing Fast Tracked his payment for helping them acquire the bike and for his own testing of the bite fuel. Ashley tried to move, tried to stop them, but she was bleeding out. Nora saw her trying to move and walked over, slowly, and smiled, before putting another bullet into her. Ashley thought she died, but was surprised to find herself in a small, pretty quaint garage, being tended to by an older man, one she recognized. His name was Alan Parker, and he was both a retired racer and engineer behind the light cycle. He found Ashley, having noticed the explosion, and was able to save her life, though he admitted he wasn't the only thing that did. During the explosion, Ashley was exposed to the bite fuel, especially due to her open wound, and something about it affected her body, helping her body heal faster and make it better all around. Telling Alan her story, the retired racer told her the dark, unseen history and dealings he was able to find about Oscorp. One started by Nora's own father, and seemed to have been continued under her. Even Alan's light cycle was used to help gangs under the corporation's pay or as favors for jobs. Knowing her own XLR-7, heck, even her 6 other prototypes would be used in the same way, Ashley asked Alan for his help to stop Nora and her schemes. The retired racer smirked and agreed. The two worked together to not only make a better bike than the Light Cycle and XLR-7, but also a suit to help her, no matter what temperature, altitude, or speed. With a bike full of tricks and gadgets, and a mission to rid Neo York of its corruption, Ashley took her new XLR-8 out into the streets as XLR Bite. In most universes, Peter's Uncle Ben and Aunt May don't have any children, something they seem to be quite okay with. But in one universe, they did. A daughter they named Karina Parker. Karina and Peter grew up together, acting more like siblings than cousins, and getting along great since both were pretty introverted. Though while Peter's caused him to grow up to be a bit of a goofy nerd, Karina's led her to be more of a quiet, slightly goth-like girl. But she did enjoy any time it snowed in New York. Of course, we know a bit on how this story goes. Peter gets bitten by a spider, Uncle Ben dies, and Peter becomes Spider-Man. But what about Karina? Where is she in all this? Since the two were so close, Karina was easily able to figure out a change happened to Peter, and was even able to get Peter to open up after Ben's death, and let him cry out the anguish and guilt he felt for not stopping Ben's killer when he had the chance. At the start of his hero career, Karina would help him figure out new fighting techniques, web shooters, and advice during fights, but she felt she could do more. Karina wanted to be a hero like her cousin, and even knew how it happened, but she wasn't going to risk it. She believed Peter was lucky the spider didn't kill him, and wasn't going to take the same risk and leave him and her mother alone through her dumb mistake. The choice, though, was taken out of her hands. This universe's Doc Ock, another Olivia Octavius, worked for a scarier, mysterious, and regal version of the Green Goblin, known as the Green Goblin King, and needed her to recreate the spider that gave his arch-nemesis his powers, and improve upon them for his Goblin Knights. To do this, the Doctor needed Spider-Man's DNA, so decided to set up a trap that involved a kidnapped Gwen Stacy, who in this universe was just Peter's friend, that had quite a few run-ins with Spider-Man, and with Karina, well, might be more. Anyways, Peter fell for the trap, and was locked in Olivia's lab. Now with both Peter and Gwen in the Doctor's hands, Karina knew she had to save them, so she snuck into the lab. She arrived just as the Doc was prepping to take Peter's DNA, but Karina soon noticed something interesting in the lab. There were multiple jars and tanks of spiders, all labeled with different apparent powers and abilities, with evidence inside of different types of webbings and marks. One difference for this universe's Spider-Man was hidden in the DNA code of the spider that bit him. The hidden potential to use the abilities of all these different spiders, but they were locked deep in the code, and slowly over time would be unlocked. And with the original spider gone, the only way Olivia and the Green Goblin King would be able to use its abilities would be taking Peter's DNA. Karina looked at the spiders before laying eyes on one, nicknamed both the Necro Spider and the Chill Spider, and feeling drawn to it. That something about this spider could help her save both Peter and Gwen. So, taking it carefully out of its tank, she let the spider bite her, and the change was instant. As the doctor was about to insert a needle into Peter, something stopped her tentacle arm, before an icy wind was blown into her face and causing her to stumble. Karina soon appeared, though she had a hood up and face covered to hide her identity. Soon, both Karina and a freed Peter were able to fight off Doc Ock and escape with Gwen. Though during the fight, the other spiders were let out of their containment and escaped. Now, there's 2 web-crawling spider people in New York. Spider-Man and the chilling, partial ghost-like ice web slinger, the Necro Spider. Man, I honestly love these videos, and should try this with other heroes and other series to turn into these heroes. It's pretty fun. But what do you guys think of these spider people? Let me know in the comments what you think, and any other Ben 10 aliens and characters I should turn into Spider-Man. Anything else I should do with both Ben 10 and Spider-Man, and other characters I should turn into Spider-Man, since I'll probably wait to do a 3rd round of this till I do a few other characters as Spider-Man. Of course, if you haven't already, check out round 1 of Ben 10 Aliens as Spider-Man, and if you want more Ben 10, check out my Alien Fusion videos and Ben 10 Aliens as stands, or anything else that might catch your fancy. But if you liked what you saw, leave a like, and subscribe to join our little Arcane town to be in the know for any future videos and projects when they're released. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later!